Hello friends and potential friends. Well, today is Friday, April 1st, 2022, and I'm going to do my best not to stick any April Fool's jokes in here, but I'm going to try to cover everything in my garden in this one video. So maybe the only joke will be how long the video winds up being. But we're starting off here in the lab because this has been going through a lot of transitions in the last few weeks. 2 weeks ago, this was wall-to-wall tomatoes. You can see a few Amish pastes still lingering in here. And I think there's a couple of homesteads back in there too. And I got Praxis cherries that are still in here. There's the dragon fruit, still look exactly the same as they did a few months ago. The ginger is also just sitting there. But as I keep saying, I don't expect much from that. But I've been planting more seeds. These are my peppers for this year, or at least some of them. I've got a dozen red Marconis, a dozen sweet banana peppers, and 2 dozen California Wonder bell peppers. I'm going for stuffers this year. I'll probably be putting a few hot peppers in after I get some more room in here, but that's what I got room for right now. Over on this side, yep, still got my bonsai rosemary, and there's still a few Everglades tomatoes still in the tray. Back behind them, I'm planted some more okra. We've got Clemson Spineless, the first 6. Next 6 is Red Burgundy. And the next 6 cups is Hill Country Red Okra. Only 4 of those have come up, so not sure what's going on with them. But what's really thrilling me, a few weeks ago, I topped the moringa tree. And so I took the pieces that I cut off and chopped them up into lengths about 6 to 8 inches long, 2 or 3 nodes in each one, and stuck them in the dirt. No rooting hormone, just put them in the soil and give them a little bit of water once in a while. Well, I got growth. And I've got more growth. And I've got more growth. Nothing on that one as yet. But what's really impressive, if I can get this to where I can actually see what I'm looking at, I got moringa leaves. And there are 3 more back here in the corner. So far I haven't spotted any growth on them, but I'm still giving them a chance to try it. But that's current state of the lab. As you can see, it's wall-to-wall seedlings. Let's see what else we got to look at. Let's see about part 1 of the tower garden. The salad tower still has lots of mint down there fighting it out with the morning glories. Still have plenty of noisy vehicles running the streets. Next layer down here is I've got 6 Everglades tomatoes, and they're coming along nicely. I put those out here because I plan on getting seeds out of them this year. The next few layers, next 2 at least, are lettuce that really is just not doing anything. I think it's just been too hot for lettuce. And it's just sitting there doing nothing. And if it ever does start growing, it'll probably just start bolting. But I've still got my little cabbage heads up here. They're about the size of a tennis ball. And still hanging in there. Been eating a few leaves here and there. Next tower over, we've got nasturtiums and morning glories down at the bottom. And then the rest of this tower is tater tower. And they seem to be coming along nicely. Third in line, the strawberry tower. Again, more nasturtiums in the bottom. I think all the morning glories marigolds have given it up. But I have planted a couple of the runners that were growing. And I've got one more runner up here I'm trying to get rooted. But what I really like, I'm starting to get berries already. Hope that I can get that one orange before the birds discover it. And it looks like there's another berry forming over here and a few more flowers. So I might have strawberries pretty soon. But that's a quick look at part one of the tower gardens. Now here in the container gardens, of course I got to look at the pineapples. That one is coming along nicely. It'll probably be starting to form a little green head on it, or a little cap pretty soon. The second one is not that far behind it, but both of them are progressing nicely. Here's some of the tomatoes that were in the lab last week. These are all Everglades here at the front. And then these are homesteads back here. Still have the mint. Over in the shade, the ginger and turmeric have not come up yet. Probably won't be too long because it's getting pretty warm around here. And then the potatoes that I planted in the garden. Those were just some extra cuttings that I had no place else to put. So that's where they wound up, and they seem to like it there. A few more pineapples hiding in there. And the reason that I referred to the front porch as part one, the tower garden, is, well, Greenstock had a St. Patrick's Day sale and I couldn't resist. Now, I've got this one planted out. The bottom 3 tiers are more potatoes. I just planted last week, I think. And then the top 3 tiers are basil. So I've got sweet basil coming up in these bottom 2. Little teeny tiny things. I just started seeing them yesterday. I think you can see them in there. The top one is holy basil, and so far I'm not seeing anything come up here. Let's see. Over on this side, there's some Amish paste tomatoes back in the back there. Then the eggplant, they still keep flowering. So far I haven't seen any fruit. Then in front of them is 4 kohlrabi, and they do not like this spot in the yard because not a one of them is forming a bulb. But I do still have a few of my winter tomatoes hanging on. These are red brandywine. And we got one here that's almost ready to come off. But those, I expected those to be finished a month ago, but they just keep hanging in there. Still got aloe, still got my elderberry. Sweet potato slips are doing well. Here I've got some more Amish paste tomatoes. And a few more planted in the bed. Another of my pineapples. My gardening buddy, Snowflake, coming out to say hi, see what I'm talking about. This glaring empty spot right here is where I plan on putting as many peppers as I can fit. Hi, Snowflake. How you doing? Yeah. And then down at this end, I've got some homestead tomatoes. The elephant garlic is hiding behind them. Still doing well. The rest of these around the edge are all homesteads. And back behind me, I've still got the big rosemary bushes. And then here are the sweet potato seedlings, and they are doing well. The leaves are not getting as big as I would expect, but we'll give them time. But as you can see, they keep spreading out everywhere. They're looking for something to climb on, so I'll probably be putting a cage around this pretty soon so they can start climbing up the wires. Back here in this bed, I've got a row of carrots, and then some onions, another row of carrots. The carrots went in where 2 other varieties of onions refused to germinate. The rest of the onions are growing pretty good. I'm not sure if any of them are bulbing up or if they even will, but we'll see. And I did put another batch of carrot seeds in this empty spot, but it was just kind of sporadic. And then down here at the end, these are my winter radishes. Just about all of them are bolting, and I don't plan on saving the seeds from them because there's about half a dozen varieties all crammed in there together. Oh look, we got ladybugs. Go find the aphids, ladybug. But I did hear that radish pods are good in stir fry. So I'm gonna be gathering up radish pods before long. They're just starting to form now. And up here in this bed, we've got these are the rattlesnake beans on this side with kiddo corn in front of them. Some of the kiddo corn didn't germinate, and I used up every seed I had, so that's going to have to be enough, and hopefully I'll get an ear or two that I can save some more seeds from so I can expand it next year. Another pineapple. Back on this side, we've got the pink-eyed purple hull peas. They're all up about 8 or 10 inches. And then in front of them is a bunch of turnips that I planted in here when the tomatoes were here. And these guys are not really forming bulbs either, but hey, I like turnip greens too, so they'll get used. Back behind me, there's another pineapple, along with a bunch of purslane. There's my bodacious sweet corn. Another pineapple out there. These are Everglades tomatoes. And there's still a couple of the Brad's Atomic grapes hanging in there from the winter. There's just a handful of little cherry tomatoes left on those. I've been eating them regular for the last month or so. Then in the greens, we got cabbage collards across the front. I only planted 4 of these because I didn't want to have to can any. I just wanted to have enough to be able to eat during the winter. Well, they outgrew my appetite, and I'm probably going to wind up having to do some canning after all. Got kale behind them. It's finally getting tall enough to get out from under the kohlrabi. And then the kohlrabi is beyond them, and then more eggplants back in the back. And like I mentioned, the eggplants just keep on flowering, but so far I haven't seen any fruit. But I have seen some fruit hiding under this one kohlrabi. That sucker's getting pretty big. I'm not sure if that might even be getting too big. But I don't know anything about kohlrabi, so we'll just have to see when we see it. And the patience garden over here is still trying to teach me patience. I did have one stalk that came up real big, about the size of a pencil. I thought that was going to be a sampling stalk. But then for some reason it just stopped growing and then started growing a little stalk right out of the top. So I'm going to continue being patient, but they are doing well. Now let's walk back to the mini orchard. In the mini orchard, got my gardenia and the Florida avocado and snowflake. Yes, dear, I know you want to be the center of attention. Let me get this filmed and then I'll give you more huggies. Back in the back corner, we still have my original ponderosa lemon tree. It's still in the shade most of the time. And this is the lemon that started forming probably 6 months ago. And on top of that, it's been trying to form a few more. Oh, I love the smell of those things. But it is hanging in there. It might start 1 or 2 more lemons this year. My loquat, well, what can I say? It's growing good. It's at least 8 feet tall. My Meyer lemon, grew that from seeds from the grocery store several years ago. One of the papayas. I started moving pineapples out here when I ran out of place to put them on the patio. The guava is still growing pretty good. Someone still wants attention. The pomegranate, about a month ago, this was just a bunch of sticks. And then it started producing leaves, and the leaves came on like gangbusters. And incidentally, I just spotted 2 more ladybugs. Good to see them in the garden. Let's see, the redbud, it started flowering, about 3 weeks ago. Had a pretty pitiful range of flowers on it, and then it just quit, started growing leaves. So that poor thing, I don't know what to think of it. It's in sad shape. Another of the mid-sized papayas. And over next to the papaya, we've got one of my fig trees. And then we have the large economy-sized papaya. If that ever manages to ripen a fruit, I'm gonna have to get out my 8-foot step ladder. Got another fig back behind it there. Sugar cane, still have a few stalks, so there's still a chance I might be able to regrow that somewhere else. And this is the ponderosa lemon that I grew from seed. That needs some work too. Mulberry tree over here is looking pretty good. It's actually starting to try to grow upright instead of spreading out to the sides. Got another pomegranate back here in the shade that needs to move because it does not like it back here. And then the blueberry, that had a bunch of blossoms on it last week. Not many leaves, but a bunch of blossoms. So there's a chance I might get a few berries off of it this year. And then finally back here in the corner, we've got the original moringa. And as you can see, I decapitated it pretty good. But I noticed this morning, it looks like there's a little bit of green starting to come out around here. So that'll be filling out and growing before too long at all. And I think that's everything in the garden. So let me wrap this up and I'll see you next time.